The National Health Service, wait for this, Rita, they're letting transgender women, i.e. blokes, I have to keep spelling that out, blokes who have changed into women, they're now letting them into women's wards in hospital. All they have to do is identify as female and wait, this is where it gets really sinister and evil, as James was saying. The nurses see these blokes coming into the women's room, at wards, they have to look after them, and the nurses are too scared to complain because they'll get called transphobic. Doesn't that remind you of when they wouldn't complain about Rotherham because it'd be racist? Now, if you complain about this evil stuff, you are called transphobic, and they're too scared to do it. And yet we see at the Olympics, Rita, we see the first gold medal, I think it was in the soccer, going to a women's team that has a bloke, i.e. a transgender woman, whatever, in that team. This stuff is out of control. Rita?
Well, Iran led the way there. I think a while back it was discovered that a number of their players weren't transgender. Right. They just put blokes in the women's team so they could win more games. I've got to say, I mean, this is not surprising given we've seen the NHS promote language like pregnant people, menstruating bodies, trying to strip women and motherhood from the language, and this is another symptom of that same ideology. I'm not surprised nurses are too scared to say anything because you don't want that mark against your name. You don't want people to presume that you're a bigot because you questioned why there's intact male bodies in a female ward.
Well, someone who has spoken up, Rita, and let's give her a big tick, is Senator Claire Chandler, a Tasmanian senator. We've got to get her on the show, James. I think we'll get... she deserves a big pat on the back. She's calling this stuff out, correct?
She's absolutely fantastic on these subjects. You know, she was instrumental in calling out the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade a few weeks ago when they signed another one of these bonkers treaties that said gender is simply a construct and then essentially made that government policy. You know, she's one of the sane voices out there in Parliament and deserves to be elevated and amplified.
Well, she's actually, thanks to her, the Australian Liberal Party now, James and Rita, have endorsed women's, and I'll try and quote this accurately, women's sex-based rights, including the right to male and female sports, male and female changing rooms, male and female toilets. This has been endorsed by the Liberal Party, I gather, at both state and national level. So well done to Claire Chandler on that. Let's see it now get into some form of legislation.